All right, in this video, I'm going to cover really critical and important tools to bring with you when racing Serpent 8-scale off-road vehicles. I'm just going to cover these tools. You can get them from any manufacturer. I'm not recommending any specific ones, but more as to what you should bring with you when you go 8-scale racing. So the first thing, which you may not see, I think is extremely important, is to bring a good pit mat. Good pit mat will help you keep your screws in place. It's a good work surface. I like these Upgrade RC ones because they have these little pockets in them to put stuff. So you can put, you know, if you're taking apart screws, you can set them in here. They'll kind of stay put a little bit better than if it was a flush surface. So first thing is a good pit mat. Second thing is a table. So this is a little folding table I got just, I think, at Walmart somewhere. They have larger ones, smaller ones. This one has adjustable height legs. You can bring it up or down. So those are two things that I think are important. Is a good table. It's plastic. I can, you know, bring it home, rinse it off, wash it off. It's really good. The pit mat, so you can do all your work on it. All right, starting from left to right, I'll cover the names of these tools and then where I use them. So here, I think is probably the most important hex driver is a 2.5 mil. 2.5 mil is going to be almost all the screws on the bottom of the chassis. So you want to make sure that your engine's tight, you know, after every race. If you're going to make any adjustments, if you're going to take the fuel tank or battery tray out, you're going to take the center diff out, they're all 2.5 mil. So that's a very important tool. Next up is going to be the 1.5. The 1.5 is used a lot of different places. It's used on your sway bar end links. That's probably one of the most critical. So sway bar end links, as well as if you're gonna pull a battery case to remove your battery and charge your battery, doing your receiver maintenance, adjusting servo linkage, everything. The 1.5 is very important. 1.5 actually is also used on the bottom. So that's probably one of the top 2 reasons I use the 1.5. It's to loosen the screws that hold in the lower shock pins. 1.5 millimeter, very important. Next up, 5.5. So 5.5 used on the upper shocks to remove those, as well as a lot of the, like the camber links, use a 2.5 or 5.5 mil. So 5.5, very important. Next up is a good wrench. So this is the Aeromax one. There's a couple other ones. I like this one because it's convenient and it's flat, so you can get this thing in a lot of important spaces. Back here to tighten, if you're going to tighten that. I think it's 8 to do these upper shock, so it fits behind it, so you can hold those while you're loosening. So it also has multiple sizes, so you can also use it on camber links. Let's see what size is that, 5. So a lot of good uses for this wrench. Very common, to use it a lot. Next up is a wheel wrench. This is the, I can't remember what the part number is, but on this side it has the 17 mil for doing the wheel nuts. And then when you're breaking loose the flywheel nut, it's got 2 configurations. So if you're running a 4-shoe with 4 pins, it's got the 4 cross, and then it's got a 3 for doing 3-shoe style clutch pins. Next up, some people carry a caliper. I like to use this scale. I use it when I'm checking shock lengths to compare them side to side. Also use it for camber links. I use this tool a lot, and I think since it's smaller than caliper, I really like it. This is the Serpent T-Wrench. There's quite a few of these. This is the one that I've used. I'm not sure if they can use it with the other like on-road cars, but it's what I use. So on the bottom, it has the, I believe it's 8 millimeter for doing glow plugs. So you could drop it in there, the long end glow plugs, pretty self-explanatory. And then here on the top end, it's a 10 mil for breaking those clutch nuts loose. And then it's really good. If you need more torque, you can use a, put another wrench in there and get more torque out of it. So another good tool. And the tools on the left, you're gonna use a lot more. Tools on the right, as you come down here, use less, but they're equally important. So a good set of shock pliers. There's countless uses for them, more than just using them for doing shocks. So sometimes these pins get kind of tight, or if you bend them, they're hard to remove. You can use this guy and use it to twist. So use, like, I think it's that upper hole, and you can use them to loosen those pins. You can use them for rebuilding the shocks. Sometimes you can use them for holding the flywheel. There's a lot of good use. I bring these with me, 10 scale, 8 scale, everything. Next up is a good pick. So pick, kind of hard to justify expensive one, but a good pick. Use it for taking the dirt out of the screws in the bottom when you're gonna tighten things up. You can use it to put the springs on your exhaust manifold. It's just a good tool. You can use it for extra leverage. Just one of those random tools that you should have. You don't need to, but it's a good tool to have. Also, a tuning screwdriver. I think these are probably one of the best tools for adjusting carburetors because they're long. So when you have a body on here, you can get through the body and still have good torque on your screwdriver. The bottom end is rubber, so you can plug the exhaust to shut the engine off, or you can use it on the bottom to stop the flywheel. So there's other ones out there, but I like the multi-purpose function of this guy, of being able to stop the engine, you know, plug the exhaust or stop the flywheel. So another really good tool. This one I actually keep in my pit bag because that's when you're going to need to use it, when you're actually running. Same thing with the 17 mil wrench. When you're going to use this when you're, you know, pitting or actually on the wall. And then one of the last tools, which I think is equally important, is a good brush. So, you know, you've done your 5-minute qualifiers or 10-minute mains, 15-minute mains, whatever it is. A good brush, use it to dust off the fuel tank. Make sure you're not getting dirt inside the fuel tank every time you open it. Use it to, you know, clean off the shocks. You have a lot of oil usually back here from the fuel. Use it for that. Clean the wing. If you get a kind of narrow bristles, you can get it here on the cooling head. Make sure you keep the dust out of the cooling head, prevent unnecessary overheating. So overall, just a good brush. I don't get any special ones from, you know, any of the online retailers. I'll just go on to Lowe's or Home Depot or the paint store, you know, and get a good synthetic fiber brush, because, you know, you don't need to spend a fortune on a lot of your tools. If you can get them from different industries where they're more affordable, then absolutely. So again, those are the tools I bring. A good table, a pit mat, 2.5 millimeter for doing the screws on the bottom of the chassis, engine, tanks, receiver, differentials, stuff like that. Really good tool. 1.5 for sway bars, for grub screws. Very important. You can also bring a 2. I do bring a 2 millimeter, but I didn't think it was as important as a 1.5. 5.5 millimeter for doing most of the nuts that are on the chassis throughout the buggy and the truggy. A good wrench to back up or to loosen things if you need. You don't need to get this one or one that has multiple on it, but I think this is a great tool. Wheel nut run.